Good afternoon, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me okay. We'll go ahead and get started in just a second. Audio check for me, please. Somebody let me know if you can hear me in chat here. Got Aubrey, USA in chat as well. All good? Okay, thank you. Loud and clear, perfect, sounds good. All right, thank you guys. So we are live here quickly this afternoon. We're not going to do a full in-depth look. We're just going to go over stuff very briefly here. But I want to first start the stream off here. I want to wait a few seconds before I actually get into the details with this. But I'm looking behind the scenes here at the power outage map. And this morning we were down to about 5,000 people out of power. Now we're up to 22,000 or so across that central Michigan area that got hit pretty hard back on Friday. So if anybody's watching from this area, please in chat, let us know what's going on up there. Is ice starting to build back up there, or what's going on that's causing these outages? Because we're starting to see an increase. I do know that there is ice accreting, but it should be light in nature. So if this is becoming heavier, I want to get on top of it, make sure people are aware that we could have a little bit more ice than expected. But for right now, I've seen minimal reports out of this area. So if you guys are in chat here from the general colored county areas here where outages are rolling in, please let me know what's going on up there. We're going to talk about the storm potential today, as well as what's ahead for tonight into Monday. Also plan to be live tonight at 7 o'clock for a full in-depth look. But if you can't make 7, we'll touch the bases here on this stream as well. Karen says, Mount Pleasant checking in, limbs falling, ice. Yeah, there is no wind right now. The wind kicks up later tonight. So if anybody's watching here from the area up here from Mecosta over toward Mount Pleasant area, let us know what's going on up there. In fact, if you guys have pictures, feel free to message the page. I'd be kind of curious to see what's going on there. Anyway, let's talk about weather. Okay, we have a couple things to discuss here, mainly the storm risk, severe risk today, and then obviously the system moving in tonight into Monday. That's going to really crank up our winds here. Let's talk about it. We're watching live ingredients for severe weather right now. If you're not aware, we do have a low-end marginal risk in place here for the southern tier counties from Berrien over to Monroe County. So basically just south of 94 there. It's a low-end risk, level 1 out of 5. But the latest update here has added hail as a risk. So here's your wind risk, 5 to 14% chance for that brown colored area there within 25 miles of you. So for example, if you live in Coldwater, you have a 5 to 14% chance of seeing a damaging wind gust within 25 miles of Coldwater. There is a risk for tornadoes today. Yes, you heard that correctly. The green area is the lowest risk you can get. It's 2 to 4%. Extends pretty much identical areas across South Michigan there. 94 and point southward. It's a 2 to 4% chance. So again, if you're in Niles or anywhere in that green area, it is a 2 to 4% chance of a tornado happening within 25 miles of your location. And at the noon update, they went ahead and issued a hail outlook as well. And they kept it at the 3 p.m. update. So it's a 5 to 14% chance of some large hail as well with this storm system today. Now, let's talk back to live ingredients here. The red contours back down here in Illinois, that is your instability. As you can see, we are still waiting for it to push northward here into our area. This should happen about 5 to 6 o'clock tonight. The very far southern counties should get into the warm sector, as we call it, with the system, but it's not a guarantee. With these systems, that warm front could stall, where it's stalled right now at the Michigan-Indiana border. As you can see here on the analysis, we're going to update this. There we go. The warm air is not yet in Michigan. If I change the look here to Indiana, there's all your warm air. And that warm front is still stalled just south of the border here. So if that stalls out completely, we're not going to warm up into the 60s. We're not going to see instability arrive. But we do expect it to lift north around that dinner time to night time frame, between 5 to 7 p.m. It's a very short window we're watching for some stronger storms. So assuming that warm front continues to lift northward, we could see some strong storms. Here's the future cast off of the high-res model. A lot of rain out there. Where I'm at here in Lenawee County, already have over a half-inch of rain from this morning. Also, freezing drizzle continues for northern lower Michigan and eastern UP. And then the moderate to heavy rainfall continues across south and central lower Michigan. As we push this toward the 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. time frame, there is what we're watching closely there. We're watching these particular storms right here about that 6 to 7 p.m. time frame. Again, sorry, parents. Onward to 8, 9 p.m. It continues to push eastward there. And by the time it gets to 10 p.m., it's out of the state. So between roughly 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. is your short, narrow window for anything strong to severe to occur. Damaging wind up to 60 miles per hour is your main hazard. Again, very low chance. Anything should be isolated in nature, if at all. So hopefully not a huge concern there. But with the ingredients today and with the threat, we want to mention it, people are off guard. It's the end of December. We're in the middle of winter. We're not thinking severe weather. We're thinking wind and, we're thinking snow. But overall, keep an eye out between 5 to about 10 p.m. tonight for that narrow window of potential strong to severe storms. Now, the big concerns here, wind as well as snow. Wind throughout today, here at 3 p.m., it's pretty calm out there. We have pockets of 20 or so mile per hour gusts, but overall, we're nice and calm. That's going to change. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. We're going to start seeing winds ramp up here in the western UP. These are out of the northeast going this way. Down here in lower Michigan, southwest Michigan, these are going to the west-northwest. So, winds ramp up by midnight tonight, a very sharp increase with this system with the wind. And by midnight to 1 a.m., we are in 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts in south and central Michigan, and most of the UP up here in 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts as well. Moving this on into the morning hours, increased wind gust will occur. Stop right here. Between 2 a.m. tonight / Monday morning to about that noon time frame, that's where we expect the real peak gust to occur. Now, don't get me wrong. All throughout Monday, those peak gusts are going to continue 50 to 60 miles per hour, but the real kick up and ramp up is going to happen between 2 and 5 a.m. That could lead to scattered outages as well as tree damage with these gusts. So, moving us into the 6 a.m. time frame, widespread area here of 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts ongoing in the UP, as well as south central lower Michigan. Western Michigan itself is kind of skimping out of the heavier gust. Unless you're by the lakeshore areas, then you could be looking at 50 to 60. But overall, the wind gust for West Michigan will peak right around the afternoon hours of Monday when the winds turn out of the northwest. Then we look at statewide gusts of 45 to 55 miles per hour throughout Monday afternoon and evening, with gusts up to 60 possible. 12 p.m. here, we'll go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. into the evening hours. By the Monday evening, we're going to start letting up slightly. Still gusty, 45 mile per hour gust here, it's nothing to sneeze at. But as we move into that Tuesday, early morning Tuesday time frame, those gusts will continue to dissolve, as I like to call it. And by Tuesday, right around early afternoon, the wind is no longer a concern for outages. Snowfall as well here, going back to the future cast. If it's not already snowing in the UP, it will snow very soon. It's going to start up here in the western UP very soon. By 5 or so, we're going to see that snow in full swing. By 7 o'clock here, heavy snow is ongoing. 8, 9, 10 o'clock and onward, continues to snow very heavily. And as we move this into the early morning hours on Monday, a transition over to snow is likely. Lake effect snow begins 2 to 3 a.m. for western and northern lower Michigan. And by the time we get to sunrise on Monday, the entire state, even the east side of Michigan, has a shot at lake effect snow, including snow squalls. And as a reminder, snow squalls can be very deceiving. Be a nice sunny day sometimes, drop into a snow squall, visibility drops to near zero very quickly. So be alert, even on the east side of Michigan, but primarily on the west side of Michigan and northern Michigan as well, for these snow squalls throughout Monday, all day Monday. When all is said and done, the snow will ramp up here overnight into Monday morning. By Monday evening, it'll be ongoing, but it's going to let up there and primarily stick to western side of Michigan. When all is said and done, accumulations of upwards of 2 feet of snow are possible in the UP. We're talking anywhere from the Bergland area over here in the western part of the UP through Negaunee, Marquette, all the way through Munising, over toward the Sioux. 1 to 2 feet of snow, isolated 3 feet of snow possible there. Elsewhere, for the entirety of the UP, we're looking at really a foot or more of snow in most areas. The Keweenaw, we had in our, I believe, 20 to 30 inch zone. That's backed off since yesterday's models. We're more so looking about a foot or so in the Keweenaw. Otherwise, our forecast from yesterday is on track. Even further south and further east here, 1 to 3 inches across central and southern Michigan. Over on the west side of the state, lake effect banding could lead to localized swaths, narrow swaths of 8+ inches. But for the majority of you guys, between 3 to 7, as much as 8 inches, if you're south of Big Rapids here toward the Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids region. If you're north up by Traverse City, Gaylord region, Cadillac region, you guys are going to be between 6 to 12, isolated higher amounts possible there. And then as expected over on the east side, snow squalls will lead to a few inches of accumulation, but nothing major for you guys. But still could be impactful to travel and visibility dropping throughout Monday morning and afternoon. That is your overall look into what's ahead. One thing I did not cover is rainfall. I didn't mention it at the start, but rainfall today, we could be looking at 1 to 2 inches across south and central Michigan. When all is said and done, we have some more rain to get through, but overall not a huge concern. Minor flooding is possible. In fact, there's a flood advisory in effect for the southwest corner of Michigan. Over here in this green area, live radar, looks like Cass, St. Joseph, and Berrien counties in a flood advisory there for another hour. Minor flooding is ongoing there. We could see pockets of that continue. Overall, we're watching back here to the south and west of us. This is a line that's heading our direction or potentially heading our direction later on this afternoon and evening. That's what we're watching right there in central Illinois. Pushing our way rapidly. These could become strong, excuse me, and perhaps severe for our friends to the south. And obviously the low risk extends into southwest and southern Michigan later on tonight. All right. Jeff, I'd made a comment in that chat there. That stream on YouTube was designed if there was severe weather today. Since it's not severe weather, we're not going to utilize that stream until we actually go into severe ops if we do. .65-mile-per-hour winds are possible in lakeshore areas, especially up in the UP. Right now, it's a waiting game. Short term, watching that warm front to the south of us. It will clear later on in the night, but is it going to clear in time is the big question. If it doesn't clear Michigan, it's going to stall our warm front, warm air to the south, and it'll subdue the severe risk to the south of us. But if we have a little bit push northward of that warm air, we're going to start seeing that risk a little bit higher for South Michigan. We'll be live tonight, 7 p.m. as well for a briefing, but also late tonight, perhaps early Monday morning. We have chasers in the UP covering the blizzard up there. Also throughout Monday morning, we have chasers in lower Michigan covering the lake effect snow squalls and damaging winds. So we have it all. We'll be live throughout probably tonight, most of the night into Monday morning. So stay tuned. It'll be exciting to watch, but also hopefully people make it through this okay. This is some of the biggest wind we've seen in a few years, I would imagine. I don't recall forecasting this much wind over a widespread area in these distance of MSC. So, John says, I assume most people will lose power. I'm not going to say most people. I will say scattered outages. Also worth noting, with the rain going on here in south central Michigan, that may saturate the ground, and it also could lead to easier toppling of trees and power lines. That could also aid in power outages throughout Monday. Scattered outages are possible. I would not expect there to be everybody out of power by any means, but we're going to have quite a few people out of power throughout Monday morning. Excuse me. I am still getting over my sickness here, so I apologize if I'm coughing a little bit or sound stuffy. Yes, Marquette. Wow. Marquette will still be hammered up there. We are expecting several inches, actually several feet, 1 to 2 feet, perhaps 3 feet there by the Marquette region. All day tomorrow, Emily, thank you for reminding me. Blowing snow is likely all throughout Monday. It could lead to reduced visibilities across the entire state in snow squalls, primarily west, north, lower Michigan, and the UP. On the east side as well, be alert. Wind is going to really ramp up the blowing snow. It's going to be nasty out there Monday. It won't be bitterly cold. It'll be cold, but not bitterly cold. We're not talking like 20 degrees below zero, but we're talking at very least 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts with ongoing lake effect snow. It's just not going to be a good situation. I do have forecasts that I had pulled up here to go through. You guys didn't catch them throughout the day today. Wind gust map here. We blanketed the entire state really at 50 to, wow, I gotta speak English. Blanketed the entire state of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Up in the Gaylord Alpena region, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds up there. This is all day Monday. But we started this, as you can see on the timing map, 6 p.m. tonight through about Tuesday, 3 a.m. That's your general expectation for the highest gusts. The internally outlook, I put this out this morning. The limited risk for severe weather extends a little bit further north than I probably would expect it to be now. But further south, really for Kalamazoo, Jackson, Detroit areas and points southward would be the concern for anything strong, perhaps severe today. Very low risk for that happening, but still a risk we want to monitor just in case. And as some of you guys have heard this morning, thunder has been heard several areas across Michigan. We had a risk up to about Gaylord region. Rainfall here throughout the day. Ending tonight, we have an inch and a half in most spots. Up there in the Ludington, Reed City, Mount Pleasant area, we could see an inch or so at most. And then up further north, quarter inch to half inch for you guys in the eastern UP and northern lower. Impacts for travel tomorrow throughout Monday all day. Expecting it to be widespread impacts on the west side of Michigan, northern lower, and the southern UP. If you're in the UP, obviously we have no authority. We're just a social media weather page here. But as a human, I would say travel not advised up there in the UP. Further inland, central Michigan there, we're going with scattered impacts there throughout Coldwater to Jackson to Lansing, up through Mount Pleasant, Cadillac, over toward the Oscoda region. And then further east, low impacts, isolated impacts, should I say, for the yellow areas. I say isolated because lake effect bands are going to be sandwiched between like a 3 to 4 hour period, but those can be localized in nature. So not everybody at once is going to see impacts, but there's still going to be impacts over there on the east side. That again, that's all day Monday. I do also have, if you want to read through a timeline as well, we posted that on the page a little bit ago as well. Then Joel's back in the studio as well. He put out this, one of the first posts he did was this. He has alert maps posted for you guys. So purple counties are winter weather advisories, also covering wind. The pink counties are winter storm warnings, also covering wind as well. The red counties up in the UP are blizzard warnings, also covering wind. For counties that do not have advisories, wind alerts do cover those counties. As you can see here in the tan color, wind advisories in effect there for gusts up to 55 miles per hour throughout Monday. Over on the east side, for all of the Detroit County warning area, we have a high wind warning for gusts up to 60 miles per hour throughout Monday. I did see a text post, or I did see wording from Detroit's weather service that they are concerned for the saturation of the grounds mixing with the wind. So if you guys don't know, when we have saturated soils, tree roots and power poles and stuff that's rooted in the grounds, it becomes easier to topple in high winds because it can crumble more easily. So when you have saturated soils like this, in addition to the high winds, I would expect to be quite a few outages in terms of power throughout Monday. And that just goes for really the entire state, not just for the east side of Michigan, although the wording that I'm referring to came from Detroit's Weather Service office. I believe that is all we posted today in terms of updates and forecasts. It is. So if you guys want to view these, you can feel free to scroll back on our page. We post daily conditions at 7 o'clock every day, and then forecasts follow usually at 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And then from there, it's just updates throughout the day. So in the event of severe coverage, we'll be live later on today. Again, primary risk for that falls between about 5 p.m. to about 9 or so p.m. And then after that, attention turns to wind and snow with chasers going out to the UP as well as Lower Michigan tomorrow morning. We'll have coverage of that starting perhaps late tonight. Not sure on that just yet, but definitely tomorrow morning for sure. We'll have chasers out there with live streams going. No sound. Circling back to how I started the stream here. Anybody up there in these colored counties? We're up to 26,000 people out of power. It was down to 5,000 this morning, and now we're starting to ramp up the increase here. what's going on here? Up to 30,000 people now out of power. That's actually insane. What's going on up here in Mecosta, Isabella, Midland, Gladwin, Clare, Osceola, Wexford, and Lake counties? I know ice is still on the trees here, but temperatures should be increasing. It should melt that. And wind is not a huge issue. So what's going on up there, guys, if you're watching here? Yeah, I have to imagine that somebody probably just came in at the stream at the wrong time and probably saw the first like 10 seconds of the stream where I wasn't talking. I know it's probably ice related, but in terms of how much ice, because it was supposed to be like a glaze at best. Trees are breaking from the ice, not melting, says Haley. Okay. Icing and 32 degrees, says Julie. Looking at the temperatures out there, though, that region, go ahead and flip this back here. Yeah, you're right. 32 degrees, actually. I know when I first started to stream, it said 36 degrees up there by Mount Pleasant, but I guess that might be a faulty sensor or something. We'll look into that, and if you guys are up there experiencing impacts, feel free to message the page here with pictures or reports, because I don't have any idea what's going on up there. I want to know what's going on so I can get people aware of that. So if you guys have pictures, videos today of today's what's going on right now today, feel free to comment on our posts on our Facebook page or direct message to the Facebook page, or email me as well, Ryan at MichiganStormChasers.com. So I am going to wrap the stream up here. Live again, 7 p.m. tonight for another full breakdown. We're going to talk about the exact same stuff we talked about here. If there's updates, I will let you guys know. But also, caveat here, if we're live for severe, that briefing is going to be delayed or not even happen at all. So we live for severe if it happens first, or at 7 o'clock for the briefing if there's no severe or storms ongoing in the state. With that said, again, please let me know if you're up there in that central Michigan area getting impacts from right now's conditions. Feel free to message me on Facebook. I will be in the inbox here shortly checking that out. With that said, I'll see you guys at 7 o'clock. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys tonight and throughout the day today on the page for updates with this upcoming system.